After that massive cliffhanger, we finally got in part 2, so let's review it. Now real quickly, my thoughts for part 1 of the season so far. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first half of the season. It seems like a lot of episodes were just wasted, character arcs were being rewritten, just felt rushed. And it just seemed like the waste of 5 episodes that could have been used for something way better. But we now have Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2. And how was it? Well, let's start. And let me just say this straight off the bat. This is significantly better than the first part for this season. It made me just realize how weak part 1 was. What I said for my review for the part 1, I said I'm going to like this part more. Just because the story's actually coming into play and we're actually getting these girls going. And that's exactly what happens. The story starts, surprises happen, action happens, everything happens. Everything that Cobra Kai is happens in here. I also said in the earlier part that the action is going to carry this part, and it definitely did. And I can't wait to see what part 3 action has to carry too, because we continue to have these amazing action sequences, and we're just constantly hooked into what is happening, just from everything that's happening. And the action just works for that too. And this tournament. Speaking of story, there is so many surprises that happened in here that I was not expecting at all. I won't spoil it because this is a no spoiler review. There's some really surprising things, kind of like plot twists in a way too, that happen in here. Stuff pops up that you weren't expecting to pop up. Certain things happen that you weren't expecting to happen. And I like just the unpredictable aspect of it. And there's some story beats they added in here, like in episode 8 and stuff, that just worked for me. I like that new course of drama that they added. And I feel like it just worked for the type of part that this is for the season of the show. I do wish some of those elements were tackled on just a bit more in episode 8. It felt like it kind of introduced something. Something happened after that, and then I kind of forgot about it. These patch of 5 episodes are some of the best 5 episodes we have gotten in Cobra Kai. Everything I mentioned before adds to that feature. They're just the best 5 episodes we have gotten of the show. I'm not saying they're the best 5 episodes, but I'm saying that some of these episodes are up there in some of the best Cobra Kai episodes we have gotten. And they're really playing on the idea of this is the last season. This is the last fight. This is the last training. Because there's this segment in episode 9 and 10 where they're like, this is the last time we're going to do this. We need to make it count. And they're really playing into the idea of this is it. This is all we're getting. This is the final season. And just the way they set up everything like that with the speech, monologue and stuff brings up the hype for part 3. It brings it up entirely. Now the ending for this wasn't like part 1 where it ended off on like a huge cliffhanger, but it did end off with me wanting more. Because, like I just said, building up towards the finale. So they just end it there. Kind of frustrating still, but not as big as the plot twist as part 1 was. This ending made more sense too. We're finally seeing some of these stories be resolved. We're finally seeing some conflicts wrapped up and some of it just starting. And now we have to wait till February to see what happens next, which is very frustrating. But I do have some problems, so let's talk about that. Now, I do feel some tension is gone. This kind of plays a role in earlier seasons too, but we kind of know who's going to win the fight, right? The main characters. Minagito, right? Of course they're going to win. Show's about them, why wouldn't they win? So that kind of takes the tension, away from all these battles because you know who's going to win. Like I said, some of the action does really work that kind of overthrows that, but still, this is a problem with like the whole show. We kind of already know who's going to win. Because it's just obvious. Episodes 6 and 7 don't hook you in as much as the other 3 episodes do. Episodes 8, 9, and 10 really hooked me in with some things they did. Once episode 7 ended was when I was like really hooked into this part. Now, episodes 6 and 7 are still good. Like I said earlier, these 5 episodes are some really good Cobra Kai episodes. But 6 and 7 didn't hook me in as much as episodes 8, 9, and 10 did. Like I mentioned before, my part 1 review said that the character arcs were being undone. Now that, for me, the problem wasn't really here as much in this part, but, stuff that was set up in that part is obviously carried out into this part too. So some of those character arcs are being dragged out in here. But I feel like it wasn't as shown as it was in part 1. It wasn't as obvious this time around. But it's still in there. But overall, Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2 is significantly better than Part 1 in every way possible. These patch of 5 episodes for this part are some of the best Cobra Kai episodes we have gotten. It sets the stakes high, it sets everything at a high level, ready for the finale, and then decides to end it in your face. Now yes, there's a few problems here and there, but Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2 is exactly what you would want from Cobra Kai, and you have to watch it. But anyways, if you like this video, maybe these was on the side that interests you too, like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.